Hey guys, welcome back to another video. It's been a minute. I went for a short trip with the family, a little retreat, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, we're back. And CENAT is getting hate again for some reason. You see, this is my problem with public figures, man. Not with them, but with the title of public figure. It's like it's unnecessary. There's a lot of unnecessary things, and I know exactly what he's going to talk about. But let's watch the video together, and so you guys get up to date. Video by Hello Yassine Extras.
What's poppin', y'all? They're really trying to cook CENAT. They're trying to deep fry that man. And it all started with something that had absolutely nothing to do with him or his sphere or his profession. And that was the assassination of Charlie Kirk. So Charlie Kirk was a very, very, very popular conservative, right-wing, I wouldn't necessarily say influencer, but he was very popular on social media. I frankly didn't know too much about him other than his face being on memes and him being called out by many people for his opinions on a certain quote-unquote conflict that's going on in a certain region of the world and his takes on that. But he was instrumental in like right-wing things and getting Trump elected. And he had a lot of these debates on the campus, similar to, I forgot the other guy's name. He was more of a comedian, like a conservative comedian that would show up with that mug, and he turned into a meme. He's like, I think it was Prove Me Wrong. Yeah, that guy. And then Charlie Kirk like came after that. He had a big organization, all of that. He was at a school in Utah, at a university, taking questions like usual, and then a really, really gruesome video where he gets shot right in the neck from very, very far away and just collapses. And he eventually ended up passing away. So a lot of people politics is very divisive. I don't know if there are things more divisive than it. So people start celebrating, people start feeling heartbroken about it, and when someone is that popular, for some reason, people decide to go to other people's streams, comment sections, and talk about this individual, even though they may have no connection whatsoever. Like you could have PewDiePie playing PUBG, and then someone says like, "Yo, this guy just passed away," and PewDiePie.
Yeah, that's very weird. I find that very weird. Like, we're doing something completely unrelated. You know, why? Honestly, if I was the one, I wouldn't even acknowledge it. I could see the message and then think in my head before I even bring it up. Think in my head, do I really want to bring this up in my stream? Does this really matter? Do I want to say, is this what my content is about? Because you forget, Kai eats up the stream, man. This is his career. He can't afford to do any sort of thing. So the fact that he even mentioned it already gave it power, because if he had just kept silent, people would have just thought, oh, he didn't see it, you know? I would see it and then I'll start, doing the gymnastics in my head. Do I want to say this? Do I want to, do I want to give my thoughts on the matter? Yeah, I think he acknowledged the message, and that's where the problem really was. But I also don't appreciate the fact that people just carry unrelated news into other people's streams. Like, what are you doing, bruh? We're out here playing Fortnite. Don't bring Charlie Kirk and right-wing conspiracy. Don't do that, man. You know, even if you support the guy in real life, even if I do support the guy in real life, that's not what this content is about. That's not what we're doing right now. So why do you want to, anyway.
Guy's Swedish, and he's like, what? But people do this. I don't know. They did that with CENAT, and CENAT gave this reaction on stream. I'll play you guys that clip right now. So with this clip,
that's the guy with like the crazy ass takes, right? Or some shit, he be saying some crazy. He be saying some crazy shit, right? Holy shit! What the fuck? Don't watch, okay, bet. He got assassinated. Alright, chat.
I have to break down what's going on here, and you can see it happen in real time. If you slow it down and pay attention, you have to think of yourself as CENAT. CENAT's doing a mafia-thon right now. This he's laboring. 24/7 he's working. 24/7. And a lot of preparation went into this. Kai Cenat's got a lot of people that show up to his streams. A lot of celebrities, a lot of famous musicians, a lot of, famous cartoonists even. The Total Drama Island guy was recently there, which I hope to do a video on that very soon. And he's also got major sponsors. We're talking this guy had McDonald's. He's got a Nike deal currently. We haven't seen what's come of that yet, but product will most likely be coming soon. Major sponsorships, maybe even movie roles that are upcoming. So in his mind, he's like, oh, shoot. He's thinking, initially, he thinks like, yo, that guy, he's the guy that says like crazy stuff, right? And it's crazy depending on who you ask, but he did get popular for his takes. So anybody that gets popular for their takes, you could say they're crazy takes. Otherwise, they would just be lukewarm and they wouldn't get popular. But he wants, I feel like in his gut, his natural reaction was to say something, I don't know, like an RIP or something. But he thinks, wait, hold on. If I say that, how are people going to react? How will my sponsors react? Will people think I'm co-signing something that the guy said? I don't know what else the guy has said. I know that he has this label on him. How will that label affect me? So he's running like 50,000 calculations in his head of what he should say. And he hits him with what, every gaslighter hits their girl with when they're pretending to care about something that she's got going on. He's like, damn, that's crazy. Or not even just their girl, but their supposed homie, like, damn, that's crazy. That's what he hit him with. And he hoped to just move past it. But unfortunately for Kai Cenat, other people are not going to do that. His response was not good enough for many other people. Because a lot of people say, because there are a bunch of people celebrating, but people say, celebrating is crazy. Well, Kai Cenat didn't celebrate, but he didn't react in the way that they wanted. And one of the people to call this out was Sneeko. So I'm going to play you guys that clip right now.
That's the guy with like the crazy takes, right? Or some shit, he be saying some crazy, he be saying some crazy shit, right? Holy shit.
I'm sure he has no idea what crazy takes that he has. He has no clue. All he knows is that he's not supposed to like him. And he doesn't wait a second after he was shot in the neck publicly. A father with 2 kids to say that he has crazy takes. It doesn't, his first reaction is not to say rest in peace. Hopefully he did at some point. But his first reaction is to talk and say he has crazy takes.
Sorry about that.
What the Don't watch, okay, bet. He got assassinated. Alright, chat.
And just he moves on. Disappointing from Kai. I mean, especially because Kai's a Christian too. Charlie Kirk was a Christian man. He lived by Christian values, whether or not you agreed or disagreed with him.
Sneeko and Kai used to have a relationship. They used to.
I don't like it when people just pass judgment quickly on somebody. Bro, if you can afford to say or support Charlie Kirk on your streams, that doesn't mean he can. He's partnered with all these multi-million dollar, some billion-dollar companies who, as businesses go, only go with what's acceptable. They don't necessarily have a mind of their own. They just do what's socially acceptable at the time in order to maximize the most profit they can from everybody. I, in real life, in person, could really be, a supporter and really sad that he's gone, but he can't do that on stream. So you can't fault the guy for trying to tiptoe around a very sensitive matter like this left-wing, right-wing things, and someone literally being killed. I mean, the least he could have said was rest in peace. But even that, I understand he was put on the spot. He was put on the spot. You can see, like, I say again, he didn't have to acknowledge the message. Nobody would have killed him if he didn't acknowledge the message. But the fact that he did, he was trying to, you could see him literally thinking in the moment, like, oh, damn, If you can afford to share your thoughts online, it doesn't mean someone else can. You know, that's the thing with with partnering with all these people. You get money, but in the process, um, you lose some what they call it, autonomy over the way you choose to steer your ship. You know, I don't necessarily think he should be flamed for not airing his opinion, but people just need to understand, man, and better relate to people and where they're coming from.
I don't know if we would ever consider them friends, but they were close acquaintances, close colleagues, you could call it, years ago in the first AMP house. And this is a different thing for Kai Cenat because Sneeko giving his own opinion or having no problem saying something like that, it got him banned. But when you don't have anything to lose, where else are you going to get taken to? I mean, like he's on, I don't know what streaming platform that is. I think it's like a crypto-based streaming platform. So it's easy.
See what I'm saying? Like he can afford to say that. He's not even on Twitch. I didn't even know that. You're playing on a different platform with different rules, with different partnerships, if you even have partnerships, but you can afford to do whatever. And doing whatever is what got you to where you are, you know, getting banned and all that. I didn't really know about that because I don't follow him. You know, but that just goes to show. You've built your whole brand around that. And that's the play you've been given. And that's great. That's fine. If you're the guy who speaks up and says, you know, whatever, that's your card. But don't go shitting on somebody else who decides to be politically correct. You know, they just want to stay out of everything. They just want to keep it about the entertainment and about the vibes. And I think that's what Kai just wants to do. He doesn't want to really be part of any, you know, controversies, even though he has done some shit in the past, you know. But for the most part, he just wants to keep his image squeaky clean. You know, I don't think that's something to flame him about. Yeah.
For him to do that, and it's in his personality. But Kai is somebody that's just, he's conflict avoidant when it comes to his career, so he's not going to up and address things. And I think he's conflict avoidant in general because when you look at the situation he had with Aiden Ross, and he was mad at Aiden's manager for telling him that, he didn't tell Aiden Ross for many months, I think maybe a year, and he just held that in because he probably didn't want to create an actual conflict, and he just withdraws maybe from the person. But what really got Kai Cenat looking crazy, it's people that are moving on his behalf. So Kai Cenat's moderator, or one of his Discord moderators, he has many of them, and this got posted. He said at Mafia Pack Watch. I think this is a girl. I don't know. Pack Watch, and then someone else says for real he is dead like dead, and then another person replies and says chill mud, death and deserving of anybody, and then this person says F Charlie Kirk. And this is very bad because number one, if this person's a moderator moving like this, they're a dingus, they're a fool.
Yeah, that's another thing. Like, what right do you have as a moderator to air your own opinion and movement in the chat? Like, why? It's not your stream. Did you even take permission? Is that what you were paid to do? You know, it's people like this that don't know their boundaries and know where their job description starts and ends that, you know, just end up putting people in extra trouble. Because why are you doing this? Simply because you're on his stream and you are his mod, you're going to affect him. Yeah, and I bet you didn't think about that when you were doing all that, right? Man.
I do give a pass to some teens moving like this, but they shouldn't be your moderator because people are really desensitized to things. They just meme things. They just want to engagement bait things, even though this isn't even engagement baiting because this person's in a Discord server. But KickChamp, who is the chief hater of Kai Cenat, post Kai Cenat's head mod pinged everyone celebrating the tragic death of Charlie Kirk. So now this starts spreading, and then even Aiden Ross reacts to this. I'm going to play you guys that clip right now.
Kai Cenat pinged everyone celebrating the tragic death of Charlie Kirk. I mean, it's horrible. It's anybody who's celebrating that shit is crazy. There's somebody in my community that did it as well. I saw it like right away. I saw TikToks. Like, if you're celebrating that shit in general, you're just a whack motherfucker. You're just so weird to me, bro. It's insane how weird you got to be to celebrate that shit, bro. Like,
And credit to Aiden Ross. This guy even said, like, yo, I saw somebody in my community celebrating that. And Aiden Ross gave his opinions on the situation, which I'm going to play you guys right now.
Like the perfect spokesperson for this shit. But this is like the most fucked up thing I've seen in a while. Like, do you know how insane it is to, like, first off, like, I don't even know where to start, bro. I really don't even know where to start, guys. I mean, the one thing I will say we can start with is just like, if you're just sitting there celebrating or happy in any type of way at all, you are part of the problem, for one. And for two, there's something seriously wrong with you. If you're celebrating death where there's a father with children, you don't have to be aligned his views at all. You don't have to agree with everything he has to say, but that's a father with a wife with two kids that now have to grow up without a father, you know? And that's just the way it is. And if you don't think that's a problem, if you don't think that instead you celebrating, that's not an issue to talk about, you're part of the problem. You are part of the issue. You know what I'm saying? Like, you are.
I think Aiden Ross is correct.
Yeah, I think he's right. At the end of the day, whether you support or you are against anything that Charlie Kirk was taught, still doesn't change the fact that that was a human being that got killed, bro. That was a human being with kids, and not a terrible human being, not a vile human being. He was not a criminal. He just said things you didn't agree with. That's all. Like, when are we as human beings going to be able to be okay with disagreement? Like, I don't agree with what you have to say. You don't agree with what I have to say. But it's all love at the end of the day. I'm not hating you. I'm not trying to kill you. Like, all these religions in the world, all these different political views, all these different gender views, we don't have to be at each other's necks simply because we don't agree with each other, because we don't see it the same way. There are 8 billion people on this world. In this world, there's bound to be different points of view and different stances in different topics. It's just bound to happen because we're all coming from different places with different experiences. You can't be out here killing somebody simply because you don't agree. That's just you giving permission for someone to kill you because they don't agree with where you are coming from. It doesn't make any sense. You can't be out here celebrating the death of somebody, man. And not just even if it was even the death of a criminal or a terrorist, that's something different, you know. This was just an average dude who was saying his own things. And you killed him. And you're celebrating it? That's crazy.
Calling out people that are just celebrating somebody getting smoked like that, especially there are some world leaders that people would celebrate their passing away, but I do think a world leader is very different than someone who was around just talking, just quote unquote, and depending on what they said. But I think he gave a fair take, and I don't think CENAT deserves the hate for any of this. CENAT did not celebrate anything. He did not celebrate that guy's life or his legacy, nor did he celebrate his death. He just tried to move past the situation as best as he could. Now, his mods, they need to get put in line for if you're doing anything that can be misinterpreted and used against CENAT or anybody really that you represent. Not just a member of their community. You're somebody that is seen as an authority, a moderator. Like, you've got a title. You've been knighted by the streamer in some way. You deserve to have that title stripped from you. Like, what are you doing? The first thought in your mind should be, is something I am saying publicly can or may potentially be misconstrued, which you can't really misconstrue what that Discord mod did, but can be used against the streamer who I'm working for? And the answer is, hell no, you should not be doing anything like that. Outside of the whole morality argument, it's just an effective argument, which is like, yo, represent him well. That's it. And CENAT, it's unfortunately something that he's going to have to deal with. I do think he just keeps pushing forward. People are going to forget about this in a couple of days. He didn't say it. There are a lot of other people that were opposed to this guy that are popular that are going to get more heat than Kai. He just needs to thug it out. Hopefully he doesn't fall under the pressure, but this he's a veteran in the game. Not just because he's been in the game for like 4+ years and he's really popular, but because this guy's been studying the game since he was in diapers. This guy's been watching everybody blow up, fall off.
Yeah, I also think that this is just another thing that's going to pass, but he really needs to learn to be more careful about what he chooses to acknowledge, you know. I had my gripes with him making his charity known about the Nigerian situation, about showing the world who he was dating or who he was involved with romantically. There are just some things that if you really want to enjoy it, keep it out of the public eye, bro. If you really want to enjoy it for what it is, just keep it out of the public eye. You know, charity, do it because you want to. Don't put it for the public. Don't, because at that point it's content and it's going to backfire, man. Everything you put out can backfire in one way or the other, even if you didn't intend it that way. You know, he just needs to be more careful, man. That's my own problem with Kai. But beyond that, he feels like I've never met him. Hopefully, will one day. But you know, he just seems like a dope, chill guy, and you know, it's the life he chose. You know, being a public figure comes with all this BS. You know, but that's it for this video. Thank you guys for watching. Like, share, subscribe, drop a comment if you will, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.